Hello, welcome back to my haunted library and welcome to Easter holiday, Easter Sunday. I'm going to post this. This is actually my Easter outfit and it just looks like a white blouse, but it's this very beautiful dress. I bought this on sale and I've been saving it for spring. In fact, I just took the tags off it, so I'll try not to mess it up because this is my actual Easter outfit. I just trimmed my bonnet and I added some, also I didn't do my nails this morning, so for the video, because I was gardening yesterday, so I added some colorful gloves. I love this bright green. No one wears gloves anymore. I found these in a thrift store years ago. You know, Shakespeare said, love is green, so I'm going to spread the green love today. So yes, I was gardening yesterday and I completely wiped myself out because when I do something like that, I'm not a big gardener, but when I decide to do it, I have to get it done in like 2 days. And I mowed and I weed whacked and I can barely walk today, but yeah, at least I got it done. But that's why, until I see Madge, my hands are not fit for consumption. Until I see Madge, I wonder if anybody gets that reference. If you do, put it in the comments below. And I know that you're at least my age or older. Anyway, I hope everyone is doing well. I'm feeling great because the weather's been awesome. It's definitely felt like spring and I'm totally into it. I should take these off because I'm getting a terrible reflection. I hosted a party, little concert for my good friend Greg McGarvey, who is this wonderful musician. I'm going to link his music stuff below because you need to check him out. I've known him for 20 years. He's a good friend of mine, over 20 years. And he had a little concert here the other night, and it was Palm Sunday actually, and it turned into this like spring bacchanalia that I wasn't really expecting because it wasn't my idea, but hey, I got into it. It was really cool. So that just put me in the mood for spring in a big way. I don't really have any Easter reading recommendations. I did that last year. I read some and watched some Easter horror films, which was really funny and a lot of fun. But I thought I would just do a bit of a catch up. And then if you want to stick around at the end of this video, I'm going to include a vlog that I normally would put on my Patreon page. Well, I'm speaking of the Patreon page. If you would like to join, there's always a link below. Because I do vlogs. I try to get one up every week, at least every 2 weeks. You get free releases. You'll also get a free bookworms. If you are a patron and you haven't sent me your address yet, please do it. Send me a message. And I didn't get them all out because I didn't get everyone's address. So send it out and I'll send you a bookworms. This looks nice with my my purple and my green. And speaking of bookworms, so wait, let me back up. So yeah, definitely consider becoming a patron. I don't do ads on my videos. Never have, never will. Although YouTube does put an ad beginning of my videos. They just started doing that, I don't know, a year or so ago. I don't get any money for that. But if you'd like to support the channel, become a patron, or at least buy a copy of Bookworms. It's only $5, which includes US shipping, very cheap. You can also get it overseas and it's not much more. So consider buying Bookworms. It's selling fast and I only have a limited amount of copies. I will also link that below. Okay, so that's my plug. I realize I never plug anything on this channel. And that's probably, if you watch my channel, you probably appreciate that. But every once in a while, I feel like I should plug something. Okay, so what have I been doing? Oh, speaking of bookworms, how could I forget? Some of you entered my giveaway on my last video. So I'm going to choose 3 winners and send out 3 free copies of Bookworms. So let's just choose the winners by cutting to that right now. So congratulations to the 3 winners. I'm going to put your names right here. Please contact me at reginashauntedlibrary@gmail.com. No apostrophe in that email address. And I will ship out your copy of Bookworms right away. And maybe you'll want to get on to the next issue that's coming out this summer, which I'm very excited about. That's going to be all summer horror. Already have some really cool things planned. All right, so what else have I been doing? Well, I went to my local library because it's finally open again. It was closed for like 3 years, partly due to COVID, partly due to renovations. I did this major renovation. So I went into my library, and I tell you, it was like entering a garden, a fresh garden of stale books, and I loved it. I breathed it in, and it was like oxygen. So I got out a couple library books. Now, of course, I have a million books here, some that I've never even read. Most I haven't even read, let's be honest. But there's something about getting out library books that is unique and fun and just a wonderful experience, especially when they turn out to be really good. And this, I couldn't believe this was in my local library. Only because my library is very small and they don't have a lot of like horror, at all. It used to be, I don't know if you guys remember this, but they used to have the little horror symbol on the spine of books, like the sci-fi one had like a little spaceship. And they still have these, and the fantasy has a little unicorn, but I may have mentioned, I'm repeating myself, but I may have mentioned this before in one of my videos. I think it was like a Frankenstein. Let me know in the comments below if you know what I'm talking about, and if you know if it was a Frankenstein or something else. See, it's been that long since I've seen any horror books in my library that I don't even remember, and that's really sad. But anyway, this was in the new book display, and I jumped on it. And I'm so glad I did because it's so good. It's called Gothic, An Illustrated History by Roger Luckhurst. This book is excellent, and I'm going to buy myself a copy very soon in hardback. This is like a classic for my Gothic library. I have been drinking this up. It's an amazing, I'm almost done. It's an amazing, the way it's organized and thematically into architecture and form. So it begins where Gothic begins, with Gothic architecture, the lie of the land, about country and city, villages, forests, wilderness, edgelands, all of these landscapes that are part of Gothic. The Gothic compass, north, south, east, west, planetary and cosmic horror, which is the section that I'm on, and then it ends up with monsters, all kinds of monsters, and I haven't read that part yet. But what I really love about it is it uses old and new, like contemporary art forms from all over the world. So it's very multicultural. It gets into, like, here's the whole thing about the haunted house. There's the Amityville house. Wonderful illustrations and photographs, full color. Just great and really well written. Like, sometimes you get books like this that are like picture books. We call them picture books. And the prose is not very good, This is really good. And very thoughtful, and, bringing in all, like, centuries worth of references from Frankenstein or before till now in film, fiction, culture, and art. Oops, almost lost my place. I can't recommend this enough. And as soon as I finish it, I'm buying myself a copy, and I will cherish it. And it has a great cover. Anyway, Roger Luckhurst, you did an amazing job on this book. And then I got out some, I went into the fiction section and checked out, starting with the A's, kind of browsing, and I saw some V.C. Andrews, and of course I nabbed them. And what I'm doing is I'm still working my way through all of the series, but I'm going to try again to read the newer Dallenganger books. So I'm going to read, even though I read it once and I didn't like it, I'm currently rereading the Christopher Diaries. So I'm starting with the Secrets of Foxworth, and then the next one is Echoes of Dallenganger, and then there's one more. I got all three out of the library, so I'm working my way through those. I have a couple of them already on my shelf. At least I think I have the Secret Brother, and I had the other ones on my Kindle, but I'm just reading them as library books, and finding at least this one I'm into more enjoyable reading it as a library book as opposed to reading one of my own books. I don't know if that makes sense, but I want to try to give these books another shot. I think when I read the first Christopher's Diary, I was just like, I couldn't get into it because it wasn't Flowers in the Attic. And now my standards have lowered because I've been reading all the other books. Speaking of spring rituals, I don't know if you guys had this when you were kids, but I remember at my Catholic church, we had a May Day celebration with the Maypole, which of course is a pagan ritual that was kind of adopted by the Christian church, and it became Mary's Day, like May Day. It's a fertility rite, as I understand it. But I do remember as a kid, all the girls would dance around the Maypole with the ribbon, and I had my ribbon, and we had this Maypole thing, and it was so much fun. Little did I know, like the Maypole was like a phallic symbol. It's great. All of it. I mean, the Easter eggs are fertility symbols. I'm here for all of it. So I really am enjoying this. If you had a Maypole experience as a child, I would love to hear your thoughts about that. Don't get too graphic, but I think you know what I'm talking about. All right, what else? I've been watching some movies. Oh, of course, the Maypole was depicted, before I move on, in the movie Midsummer. So it wasn't in May, it was in Midsummer. And that's a really intense scene, that Maypole dance. I have to watch that movie again. I only saw it once. It was very disturbing. And my husband, who doesn't watch horror films, really was bothered by that film. So, yeah. I wonder if that guy's going to come out with another film. His movies are really scary. And then the last thing I wanted to just kind of touch on is I watched a horror movie the other night. This was a rewatch, but I had not seen this movie since it came out. And that was Angel Heart. Do you guys remember this movie, Angel Heart, starring Mickey Rourke? Came out in 1987. It was an American neo-noir psychological horror film, an adaptation of William Hortzberg's 1978 novel Falling Angel, which I have not read, but now after seeing the movie again, I do want to read this book. The film was written and directed by Alan Parker and stars Mickey Rourke, Robert De Niro, Lisa Bonet, and Charlotte Rampling. This movie is intense. I remember the first time I saw it, I didn't really like it, but I think it was a situation where I was at a friend's house and kind of half in and half out watching this movie. That's not the kind of movie you should do that with. You really have to pay attention to the dialogue because it's a mystery and it has a big twist, which I won't give away, but if you don't pay attention, you won't get it. So I think that's probably why I didn't like it the first time. I do remember that night because it was the first and the last time I ever drank martinis. Let's just leave it at that. First and last. So I think I had a negative association with this movie. And I'm not saying the movie's perfect. It has kind of like, it's weird. The editing is very out of sequence, but it's very modern in that way, I think. I think it was ahead of its time is what I'm trying to say. Mickey Rourke is really, really good in it. And I had forgotten like what a leading man he was. I even admit that one time I was just like, I need to watch a Mickey Rourke movie, slip me a Mickey. I went to Blockbuster. Oh gosh, this was, when Blockbuster was still around. So we're talking 10, 15, maybe more than that, years ago. And I kind of was in there just kind of, when you grab the tape and like, you don't want anyone to notice that you got out 9.5 Weeks Part 2. The movie's not really good at all. But I did enjoy Angel Heart a lot. And Robert De Niro it's not really a twist what his character is, but I won't say it. But he plays someone called Louis Cypher. You can kind of figure that out. He's really scary in this movie. Like, he scared me. He's really good for this part because he's very cold. The character that he plays is cold and you just feel it. And I also remember this was a controversial film because Lisa Bonet, who's in it, and she's very young. I mean, she looks like she's in her teens still, was in the Cosby Show. This was like a scandal. But she and Mickey Rourke have this very graphic sex scene. And it's kind of surreal, and there's like blood dripping from the walls, raining, but it's all done in like a very intense way. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good. I'm going to go back and revisit some 80s movies like that, some horror movies. And this is an interesting, you don't really see like a horror noir too much. That's like a period piece. It was made in the 80s, but it takes place in the 50s. Although Mickey Rourke is wearing like a very 80s baggy suit. I'm a costumer, so I do notice these things. That was a little off, but Charlotte Rampling is beautiful in it, and her clothes are gorgeous, and Lisa Bonet is really good in it too. So let me know in the comments below if you've seen Angel Heart, or if you've read anything I've discussed, or if you ever played with a Maypole. I would love to hear your thoughts. Well, that's all I have for today, except if you want to stick around and watch my vlog, which I'm tagging on the end of this video, where I am setting up a brand new IKEA shelf in my library. So I'm adding a whole shelf unit for my fantasy and sci-fi books. So we'll see how I do with that. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to add it to the end and change into some jeans so I can try out my carpentry skills. So I hope you have a lovely Easter holiday, and I'll see you next time in my haunted library. Bye. Hello, future Regina here. I still have on my makeup for my video, but I changed into my jeans and this t-shirt, which is from maybe 2 creepy crates ago, which I believe are some of the victims of the Jack the Ripper. So I'm going to attempt to put my new Billy cabinet together. I feel like this part is going to be very, very important. A couple hours later, I'm here. And I only screwed up once. Well, I actually just realized as I put it together, and there's no way I'm going to take this apart and redo it. So I'm just going to cover this little blip with books. Okay, so here's the finished product. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty proud of it, that I did this all by myself. And I even screwed it to the wall so it's secure. And now I have a place for all my fantasy and science fiction books.